A very good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you all here on the PMT Club meetup. And today I am even more excited because we are starting a new phenomenon wherein we will be having interview podcast. We are ready for our podcast and the meetup. Okay, so as I was mentioning that I'm even more excited because today we are having the interview podcast and I'm excited because Sunora and myself, we are connected for quite some time and we are discussing on the emerging trends in the IT industry and how businesses can grow in the IT industry. And it's a very interesting topic and I'm sure everyone who is listening to us would benefit and would have some or the other takeaway for his or her career. About the club, I would like to give a brief information and introduction about our club, the PMT Club. So PMT basically stands for Plan My Trainings. It is a part of planmytrainings.com, the portal for trainers and training domain. I have founded this portal especially for trainers to give them a platform to share their profile and create their courses, training programs, create groups of their students. These are the stuff that trainers can have. And I had this vision to help trainers in getting an access to all such features easily and quickly. I myself have been a trainer and I have been in the training domain. And whatever challenges I have faced in my career, I tried to work on those challenges, and this is what I am passionate about. And I love to help other trainers by bringing solutions for them wherein they face similar challenges and their challenges get reduced with services that I can offer. So with that vision, the planmytrainings.com portal has been started and PMT Club is another initiative within the company. Again, PMT Club is an initiative which I started because I wanted to give a platform to each and every trainer who connects with me, who can come, share his or her experiences, give a speech, come for conferences. Many a times I get such questions from trainers. What are the platforms that we can go and deliver a speech? So those kind of questions triggered this thought in me. I just thought that why not I start this kind of club wherein we get a chance to interact with each other. And once again, in this club, podcasts, interviews, speeches, conferences, these are the stuff that we are having. And today is our first interview podcast. And I'm really excited to have such a wonderful, experienced professional from the IT industry. And the topic is also a very emerging topic. These days, we are all talking about the changes in the technology that's happening, the enhancements that are happening. So what is in store for all of us who are related to the IT industry in some way or the other? That is what we are going to talk today about. So once again, on behalf of Plan My Trainings and PMT Club, I welcome each and every person who are present here live and who will be also viewing this video later on. Let me introduce our guest, Miss Sunora Paul. Sunora Paul is a seasoned transformation specialist and she's a leader in IT technology and consulting industry. She is working with GCCs in India in captive sales domain. She has 20 plus years of experience and she is helping organizations build their client base, enhance their client base, add more logos to their client list. These are the stuff that she's doing. I'm really excited to hear from her what changes are going to happen in the IT industry and how the IT industry can figure out what are the things that they can do in order to meet those challenges and grow further. So Sonora Paul, before I put up the questions in front of you, of course, we will be having all the discussions, all the, I have certain questions with me, and I would like you to share your perspectives, your experiences that you have. Before that, I would like to ask from you a little bit more about you. Can you please share a bit more about your experiences and about yourself?
Thanks, Lucky, for this wonderful opportunity. For me, it's the first time that I'm coming on to such type of an activity of a podcast. So thanks a lot for giving me a platform to also express my thoughts and ideas. So I think you've given a wonderful intro about me. Nothing goes more than whatever you have spoke. So as you have told, I'm with 20 years of experience. I handle multiple genres. So, something like the project management, the sales, the customer management, and all of those. Right from beginning, I think last 20 years, I've been in the IT sector, predominantly on the captive side. So captives is nothing but the GCCs. GCCs are the global captive centers which have been developed in India, which means that organizations are developing their small pickpockets in India, like basically bigger organizations. The global centers have their presence in most of the giant companies have their presence in US and Europe and all of those. So their small pickpockets have been developed in India. The development centers are there. So I try to build in more connections with them and try and enhance the operational effectiveness, try and bridge the gap, also try and build in more customers. So that's basically what I've been doing in last 18 to 20 years, starting off with project management, client enhancements, managing the resources and stuff. So that's something about it.
Wonderful, great. So Sonora, you are in this area, and yes, we all know that IT service industry has been a major contributor in the Indian economy. So what do you think are the key factors driving its growth?
First of all, thanks to the government, Indian government, because recently, last 10 years or 15 years, if you look, there's a lot of taxation exemptions and stuffs like that which has come. Like if you even look at the SECs, which has come in most of the major metros. So that has actually given us tax exemptions. So which has paved, as I told, giving an opportunities to come to India. Like the GCC, so many GCCs have come to India majorly because of that. Look at the internet cost. So last 10 years, it has drastically, dipped down. So that also has helped us to connect with the world, with the global economy, and that is also a rising factor for us. Look at the amount of engineering institutes which are there in India. So the amount of talent pool that we have in India compared to the other nations is much more, and the flexibility of the people out here. So I would give appreciation to the culture that we have, the Indian culture, the way we have been brought up. We are very flexible. So that is one of the advantage that has helped the Indian population or the IT industry to flourish so much. Our students or our emerging IT folks, they are very adaptable compared to the other nations. So that's one of the advantage that we have. Look at the STEM type of the education that we have. Science, technology, engineering, maths, all of those things are starting off even from the mid-level of their studies. Right from 8th standard, I think all of those things are being inculcated in our curriculum. So these are few of the advantages that I see. At the same time, the time zone advantage that India has, because most of the companies with which India works at this point of time is the North American clients or the European clients. So, if it is night here, then it's day there. So probably with all that shift, it is helping. And again, the European time zone, it's hardly 4 to 5 hours difference. So that is also giving us an advantage to grow. the IT industry. Yeah, these are few. I mean, I'm sure there are multiple things, but then these are like few things which has suddenly come into my mind.
Okay, great. So you have beautifully listed out the major ones, like the taxes, the policies, culture, the STEM education that we are having, and even the time zones. So wonderful. So these are some of the things that brings India uh, to the level that we offer our services to the entire world. Any other strengths that comes to your mind?
Strength is mainly, I would say, the talent pool that we have in India. See, the amount of people that we have, the growth that we have seen, the flexibility, as I have mentioned earlier. People come out of college, they just don't sit back and say that, I'm an engineer, I'm an IT professional. They go out, try and inculcate the knowledge. A lot of companies are even, supporting now with platforms, trying to help them to upskill on various technologies and stuff like that. So I think those are the flexibility which the Indian culture has is helping them to grow compared to the other nations.
So on one side we talk about the culture and all that. Yes, that is something which is helping, and also the education and the focus on such things are there, taxes and everything that is there. What about the emerging technologies? What are the emerging technologies that is shaping the IT industry?
Yeah, the emerging technologies at this point of time, see, if you look at like 10, 20 years back, people were looking more onto the language side. For example, C, C++, Java, etc., etc. But right now, if you look, I think the focus has gone more on the IoT side, on the cyber crime. So, cyber activities and cyber knowledge is getting more popularized. There is a lot of importance to the data. So, data analytics, data science is an emerging field. IoT is an emerging field. Then we can also talk about artificial intelligence, machine learning. These are, I think, the major areas which is emerging at this point.
So how can IT industry stay updated on such things in the face of automation and globalization?
Yeah, so everybody at this point of time, I think mostly the freshers in the industry has a thought that, okay, IT is just going to fade out because automation is coming into place, and then we are all like IT engineers, we're all from college, coming out of college. What are we really going to do? But then what I personally feel is like, as I told earlier, C, C++, Java, all of those things might just fade off. But then the newer technologies is going to emerge, where that is going to connect with the environment, is going to come up, especially as I said, cybersecurity, IoT, blockchain. These are all the emerging technologies. So if the students are able to study these things right in their college, I think that is going to give them a way ahead.
Yeah, there is a lot of fear around all these new technologies that are coming up. AI, many jobs would be taken over by AI, and in fact current situation is also a little bit of that type, wherein even IIT graduates are facing to a certain extent.
Correct. Yeah, recently, that article had come in Economic Times. So what I have noticed is from 2020-21 onwards, I think a couple of colleges in Bangalore, I've seen like 2 or 3 colleges, they have started giving specializations in IoT, cybersecurity, AI, ML. So these are something, initially I think everything was like computer science. Either you have computer science, you have civil engineering, you have mechanical engineering, and all of these. So that is how it was. So computer science was the only stream in IT which used to be there, I think, till 2021. But after that, last 4 years, I see that these courses have also, or these specializations also are there, which has actually helped, I think, the Indian IT, the students also to come up. And more than that, what I also see is like, soft skills advancements also has come in place. So if the kids are able to understand all of those things, the machine and the automotive things together would be able to do. So the problem solving and stuffs like that. So those are the emerging things. The communication skill plays a lot of role. So it is not that some things would, of course, would fade off, but then the other things would come up. So that is evolution, right? So we grow and we become mature.
Yeah, in fact, in training also, I can share my experience. Initially, when online training was new during pandemic, this was a fear amongst trainers, training fraternity, that online training or courses, recorded courses, these things would be the major stuff in the market, and the training profession, classroom training or live trainings, these things would fade off, and the jobs of trainers would get reduced, less assignments would be there. But eventually in just about 3 years or so, we can see that it is not that the trainers' jobs have been taken over, but now both these things work together.
Yeah, have merged together. It has been
They have
evolved.
merged, yes.
Yeah, the digitalization has helped it a lot.
Yes.
A lot of platforms have come up. So I think in a way it has helped, and especially after pandemic, things have changed a lot. So understanding, especially on blockchain and all that, I'm sure these are the emerging technologies, right? So this will help us, and especially on the data science, because data is power. You get a lot of data visualization tools and stuffs like that. So with that, we can make beautiful presentations and stuffs like that, inputs.
Correct.
Especially from the training side.
Correct. Yeah. So looks like those who adapt faster get benefited. Now there is also, on one side, jobs are getting reduced, people are not getting jobs on one side, that is there. Whereas organizations, the IT sector companies, they are also facing the issues of attrition. So any perspective around that? How can the companies handle that?
So I think to a certain extent, there is some hype towards it. So there is a lot of job hopping also which is happening. It is not just the attrition which is the issue. Job hopping is there. At the same time, we speak one side about training and all of those. At the same side, we also understand that people are not coming up and trying to develop themselves on the recent technologies. So what happens is, from US, they might be asking for XYZ combination, whereas we may not be able to have that XYZ combination in India. Some of the resources are still with the mindset that Java is going to take a leap again for next 20 years. Or .NET, Microsoft Technologies is going to be there for next 20 more years. So they have that reluctance that I will not upgrade. I have a future still with this. But things have evolved. So if you look at the JDs which come from US and all that, when we collaboratively work with the clients, there is a big list of skill set which is really coming these days. It is not just the normal Java. It is not just the normal Python. So Python and Java combination. If you look at SAP, recently, I was looking at a JD where SAP and cloud and hundreds of things together has come. So the recruiters keeps complaining to the project manager saying that no, we are not going to get these type of combinations. So what do? So at least like 10 skills when it's been asked, like 2 or 3 skills should be there, right? So we have to try and adapt and learn. So that is one way that I think, because people are not adaptive, I think they are not able to bridge the gap. And that's one of the reasons they feel that, they are not able to manage within the team. So I think if you're able to adapt and learn, we should be able to, stay safe in the IT. Plus the other reasons what I see is like after the pandemic, people feel that we are working for global companies. One resource would be in Bangalore, the other resource would be in Hyderabad and things like that. So why do we really have to come to office and work? Because everybody is all like spread apart. So I think if that collaborative work environment comes in, I think, for that, the training or the HR, and all of them have to put their inputs towards it and try and bridge that gap. So I think these things would also help them to feel more interested and continue with the organization. The other thing is the on-site opportunities which is there. So obviously, you go to US or Europe and stuff like that. The life out there is much different. If you are even if we don't get such living conditions, but at least the salary is high, I think that's a motivation factor for people to continue in India. So in my thought, I think few of these are the major challenges.
So by collaborative, you mean coming to office, that kind of thing, or something else?
So, collaborative in the sense, like, at least if the HR is able to identify where the gap is. So it's not that everybody, I do not believe that everybody has to come to office. As I told earlier, if there is only in a team of like 20 people, if there is only one person in Bangalore, another person in Hyderabad, it doesn't make any sense. So there should be some collaborative activities, which will motivate a person to work. In most cases, what happens is you've been asked to come to office. You just come and sit in one corner. You don't even know. I mean, all others are aliens to you. You don't even know about the other people who are sitting next to you. So there is no motivation for you to work. So instead, allow the person to continue as it is and give him in another space where the entire team can collaborate on some other activities. So that is what I was looking at.
And from project head, from their perspective, what are the stuff that they can do? Have you also seen project delays and all due to attrition and these kind of challenges?
There are a lot of project delays which happens due to attrition, because you will have to see when there is a problem, when somebody moves up in the organization, obviously you will have to replace another talent there. Recruitment cost is like really high, because recruiting another person, it takes a lot of time. Then all these information sometimes just goes into the repository. There is no X person who can communicate the same thing to a Y person. So again, there is a gap there. Delay in time, and then so people in US feels that or other countries feels that we can immediately try and transfer the knowledge, but actually it doesn't happen. So it takes a lot of time and effort to even transfer such knowledge, and by the time the person becomes productive, obviously you lose a lot of time, lot of effort. And again, as I said, the recruitment cost is another challenge. We may not even be able to replace the same type of person to that project, because he would have worked on that particular project for 6 months. So the same amount of knowledge cannot be passed to a second person who comes into the project. So that is also another challenge.
Okay, so yes, so these are some of the things. And what about the job security these days? Even though these challenges are there and attrition is also there, IT professionals also face a lot of job insecurity towards job. So what are your perspective around that? How they can navigate the job market and ensure that they have the job security in their career?
So job security comes again with learning. So if we are able to adapt ourselves and learn new technologies in the market, obviously we will have a job in IT for next 20 years, 25 years, next 100 more years. So that is not a challenge, but then people are not open up to make such changes. So that is a major challenge, which we see that a lot of IT jobs are moving to other countries and stuff like that. The flexibility issue has crept in a lot, especially these type of issues have come in after pandemic. The rigidity that is there in the minds of people, maybe that could be their family situations and stuff like that, nothing to blame over it, but then I think a liberal mind, and also as I said earlier, I think HR plays a lot of influence in that. If they are able to bridge the gap and try and give trainings on these areas, how to be flexible, what all type of activities can be done in the organization to foster these type of environments. See, all these things would give them a feel to learn more and adapt to latest technologies and stuff.
Okay. And how do you think the IT companies, the organizations, the service industry how can they retain the talent, and how can they focus on the growth of the company, wherein the attrition is addressed and the talent is retained?
I didn't get your question.
How the IT service industry, what the company, how can they retain talent, and how can they reduce the attrition in their organization?
So one is like job rotation is one of the thing which I feel is important in especially IT services company. Because if you look at a product company, right from beginning you are developing a product. So the same team, the same group actually continues. Whereas in IT services company, mostly you are working on client-based projects. So obviously there is a chance for you to move around and explore more opportunities. So if companies are able to give them such type of opportunities to move around and so that also gives a collaborative feeling. You are able to understand various technologies, various perspectives. So that helps you to move around and have a better feeling. At the same time that as I told you earlier, the liberal attitude of people, the HR coming into place, try and do a competitive mapping, all of those things also would help IT to move forward.
Okay.
Which
And
is actually not there now.
okay, okay. Um, and what do you think, how the educational institutions can prepare the IT graduates to the changes that are happening in the IT service industry? What is their role?
Yeah,
What can they?
educational companies, or probably if you look at somebody with BTech background, what happens is it's more of theory which gets into the curriculum. But skill-based learning is one advantage which can be given. And as I told you, from 2021 onwards, couple of universities have changed their curriculum. They have incorporated the latest technologies like cloud computing, blockchain, AI, ML, cybersecurity, IoT, all of those things into the curriculum. So these recent trends have actually helped, but at the same time, I don't think all the universities have made changes. And I think this has to be also informed to the students, because still I have heard from some of the students who have just graduated or still who are doing graduation that no, the number of students that we have in computer science is like 100, whereas if you look at AI, ML and all that, it's hardly like 20 or 30. So the awareness, actually that is a trending thing. AI, ML or IoT or cybersecurity, these are the trending things in the industry. But then parents have not understood about it. The generation, the Gen Z kids have not understood about it. They feel that, I will concentrate only on computer science. The next 2 years, I will concentrate on computer science, and maybe once I finish my education, I will think whether I should move into AI or ML or cloud or whatever. So this thought process has not changed. So that is one of the reason I think people have to be educated about it. The banking has to go in, straight. So most of the children have a feeling that I will just do computer science, I will come out of college, then I will start learning. So that takes a lot of time, right? So once you finish everything and then you come out, again you will have to invest like 1 or 2 years again on courses, on IT specific skills and stuff like that. So universities has to understand, the branding has to go in well, and parents have to be educated, because even now, unlike other countries like US and all that, where children make a decision, I think here in India still there is an influence. I wouldn't say that like 20 years back that they are completely dependent on their parents, but to a certain extent, they try and take guidance from parents. So what happens is parents don't know about IoT or cybersecurity or any of these new things. So they only have heard about computer science, just one word, computer science, that is growing in India. So they try and tell the children, you just go for computer science right now, later we will think what to do. So I think education and guidance has to be there even for parents, not just the students.
Yeah. Correct. And even in soft skill, on that front also, I've seen that although it is part of the curriculum in most of the institutes, but still to the teaching that happens, there is a little bit of gap in terms of what exactly happens on the shop floor, on in the company as such, and what is being taught. So there is a gap, which gap I feel has to be reduced.
And especially in these educational system, what happens is all these kids, they come as freshers, to the IT industry. They do not even know what to talk. Other than coding, they do not even know how to, format your resume, how to do branding for themselves, nothing of that sort. So looks like these things have to be inculcated to them even from the college days onwards. For them, what they understand is, if I am a Java coder or if I am a Python, I know pretty well, then I can sustain. No, that doesn't really work. Because as I told, in IT services companies, what happens is, like, there is a lot of global connect. You will have, maybe your boss is in US. He doesn't even understand, the accent in which you are talking. The MTI, the mother tongue influence and all that, they really don't understand. So you put a lot of action and strain and all that to try and make them understand. So soft skill plays a lot of role, and I think debates and giving them an opportunity to talk in public, give them opportunity to talk about small seminars. I mean, these emerging technologies are coming up. Like 5 minutes, if they have been allowed to stand in a small crowd, at least in front of the audience, like their own classmates, I'm sure that inhibition would move on, and then they will start developing it.
Correct. So, Sunora, you have been in this domain in the IT service industry for more than 20 years. What excites you about this industry? Can you share a bit about that?
Excitement right now, I think, is India. We all talk about population and stuff like that, but then it's just because of so much of population and the help of government regulations and stuffs like that. A lot of new things have come in to our IT industry. People have an open culture. A lot of new companies, startup culture, and all that is coming up. So with all of that and the digitalization which is coming to the industry, looks like there's no end to what is going to happen in IT in India. And the human, see, people talk about automation and stuff like that, but the human and the automation industry put together is just going to change the world.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful thought. And with the changing that is happening, the emerging things that are happening in this industry, concluding the discussions, to summarize, what would you recommend to the top management of IT industry? What are the key recommendations that you will have so that their businesses grow and their attrition is less, challenges are less? Can you share a bit about that?
I would say we are actually blessed to have a lot of people in the industry, the emerging talent that we have. So those resources has to be like nurtured, treated them well, so that they are the growing, they are the they are the foundation of IT industry so far, and there is a lot of vision. So by helping them to grow in the companies, by fostering such type of a climate for them, and not allowing them to move out of India. So if you foster such type of a climate of inclusion and stuff like that, giving them an atmosphere of growth, looking at not just the IT salary of the people, giving them an environment to study, to learn, give an opportunity, as I told earlier, a job rotation, helping them to learn more technologies, allowing them to be what they are. Because there is a fund of knowledge. We are blessed with all that in India. So if you are able to nurture all that and allow them to grow, I'm sure that India is going to have a bright future in IT services.
Absolutely. Again, a beautiful thought and a good summarization of all that we discussed, and we have covered. It was great to talk about all these things and listen to your perspectives. You covered the entire span of everything related to the IT industry, related to what India has in terms of the rules and regulations and all those things, taxes and everything. What is the culture? What are the challenges that industries are facing, and how they can overcome those challenges, and the fears that people are having, employees, freshers are having.
Yeah, see, always a challenge would be there, because see, some places, we look at government which is very flexible. Not everywhere it would be like that. IT infrastructure challenges would be, of course, there. But, amidst all that, there is growth in India.
Absolutely. And yes, you summarized everything related to how an individual can also grow in the IT industry, what all the individual can focus on right from the college life. From there to even navigating
That's
their
a stepping
career.
stone out into the public, right? See, he or she doesn't know what is actually happening, because a lot of freshers come and tell that, ma'am, we thought like 5 years back, 6 years back, we had a vision when we got into the college, but then that's not what it is now. Yes, things are emerging. If we are able to adapt and develop our skills and try to adjust with whatever is happening in the IT, so we adapt, at home, the changing atmosphere and all that. That's what I keep telling them. So why don't we adapt to the industry, what is coming? So if you're able to adapt, yeah. I mean, India is going to be a beautiful place to live in with the IT things, which are coming up.
Yes.
And we have our own advantages.
Yeah. So the key takeaways that I can see are the two major words, adaptations and the Indian culture. That these are the two things that are our major strengths. We can leverage on our culture, our emerging things that are happening in this industry, and we need to keep adapting, keep upskilling ourselves, and keep changing with the changing environment that's happening.
Correct. Yeah, you said it right.
Wonderful. Great. It was great to know about all these perspectives. It was very insightful. I would like to ask people present here if you would want to ask any question. We can have that, or else we can just wind off. Any questions? Okay. All right. So I think that was it. Is there any question? Okay. All right. So Sonora, great to have you here for this interview. It was very insightful, and I'm sure anyone who would listen to our discussion will gain a lot of insights upon what to do and where to focus in order to grow in the IT sector, from individual's perspective as well as from industry perspective.
Thank you, Lucky, for giving an opportunity to share my thoughts as well. See, I'm not very sure whether it was really insightful like what you have told, but then I have just told from my my knowledge in last 20 years, what has taken me till here.
Okay, great to hear about your experiences and all. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sonora, for being here and taking this, accepting the invitation to come here and share your experiences. I would like to conclude this meeting, and I would like to thank everyone, and also I would like to mention that this is the platform. You can take help of this platform. You can use it to practice speaking, to share your experiences, to come here, speak about your experiences, your thoughts, the knowledge that you would want to share with the world. Come here, share your speeches, come for the interview, and going forward, We will also have speech competitions, we will have conferences, we will have webinars, and we are going to grow exponentially on this platform. So with that, I would like to wind off this meeting. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thanks, Vijay.